Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Playing in Traffic. And you know we do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So tell all your friends. We talk anything that you can put gas in, we talk about it. We got my man Joe from Iola Car Show and Swap Meet. How you doing, Joe?
Great, great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, a lot of my friends have been talking about your show, and so I wanted to get you on here so you can promote it. Tell people what's going on out there in Wisconsin. So
Yeah,
yeah, this give us a.
yeah. It's a very unique show. It's a huge show. It's a nonprofit. We've got a staff of usually about seven throughout the year, and we've got an unbelievable amount of volunteers that help pull it off. We've got more than 2,000 volunteers
Wow.
that help to execute the show, and it's a very historic event. This will be our 51st annual. So it's a very grassroots, small town sort of a show that just over the years really exploded. And it's a car show and swap meet. So we have over the weekend we've got about 2,500 show cars that will be
Mm-hmm.
there over the 3 day show, and we've got 4,000 swap spaces. And we've got a commercial row, we've got sponsors alley, we've got a campgrounds, and we've got a lot of special guests. We've got celebrity guests and a lot of unique special features. And each year the show gets a little bit bigger and a little bit better. And it's just a very small town feel, but very large family feeling event.
Nice, nice. Joe Connington threatened me. She told me I better go. She goes, I
Yeah,
have to go. So yeah, I'm gonna try to make it out there this year. You're about 7 hours from me, so I'm gonna
yep,
try to jump over there and do some coverage, do some live
yeah,
stuff. So tell me a little bit about the swap meet. I heard it's one
yeah.
of the biggest swap meets in the United
It
States.
it is. I think we're the biggest combination of swap meet and car show in the country. It's really very diverse. That's probably the strength. There are like Hershey, for example, is the biggest swap meet. Hershey is very much in my mind a brass era show. That's kind of the sweet spot for that group. Ours is a little bit more of a muscle car show, but we've got some of everything. You know, you can come in there and find some remanufactured and manufactured stuff. You can find some NOS stuff. There will be some brass era stuff and some much newer stuff, but really the diversity is what it's about. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of memorabilia, a lot of old signs, antiques. It's kind of it's hunting season. You know, it's the thrill of the hunt. And
Yeah.
um, with 4,000 vendors, you can walk for 3 days and not see it all. But Thursday, the first day, opening day, is a huge day for swap because those
Mm-hmm.
guys are trying to get the deal, get that stuff before it's gone. Savvy eBay shoppers are all here picking, looking for the treasures.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought about that. The eBay guys are probably really hitting it.
Oh yeah, we've got buyers and sellers here that are very savvy on eBay, and it's a very fun old school way of commerce. But for some people, it's business. I mean, some people
Mm-hmm.
come because they came with their parents and grandparents, and it's just a tradition, and that's an awesome vibe to be a part of. But there's definitely serious business that happens here too.
Right. Right. Okay. So you have the swap meet, and then you have the car show on top of that. Now, will you have any special things for the car show?
Oh yeah, yeah. The we always have a theme, and the theme this year is the unforgettable 50s. So we've got kind of a marquee indoor space that will be supreme examples of a variety of 50s classics. Then we've got another indoor space that is um, very rare, very unusual, high-end stuff. And we've got a lot of different categories. We've got our pre-war cars. We get probably between 75 and 100 good examples of pre-war cars. We have a blue ribbon Concours area and a post-war area. So it's sort of like there's a place for everybody here. We don't get into judging or awards. It's just very much a old school throwback good time show.
Okay, nice, nice. So, what talent are you having there this year?
So we have some really neat things happening here. We've for several years now we've been bringing in celebrity guests, and a lot of times there's a automotive theme involved. Sometimes it's just pop culture. For example, this year with the theme of the 50s, We've got Jerry Mathers, who of course played the Beaver on Leave It to Beaver in the
Hmm.
50s. So for our older crowd, that's going to be an awesome opportunity to meet a guy that they grew up with. For the younger crowd, we've got some of the younger guests as well. Emily and Aaron Reeves from Flying Sparks Garage
Hmm.
kind of play host for us. And of course, we've got Derek and family from Vice Grip Garage. And I think that's one of the most exciting features we've ever had. Derek, of course, is known for his crazy rehabs and
Right.
sketchy drives home. He's going to be doing that live here. And I don't think he's ever done this. This is actually a concept that he and Emily Reeves came up with together. They're very
Hmm.
good friends. But for 3 days, he's going to be here hunting the swap meet, looking for parts to complete a 1968 Firebird. And he's going to be doing that work live in a tent for everybody to watch and see what he gets done. So that's going to be a very fun feature.
Yeah, that's pretty slick that you put it together with the swap meet because he can any parts that he needs, he's gonna
Oh yeah,
search
he's
them
going to
out.
have a camera crew. He's going to have a camera crew following him around, watching this take place. I think it's going to probably turn into some episodes or some specials down the road. But
Hmm.
so neat that his fans who get to normally just watch this happen streaming or in an episode can come and be a part of it. It's really going to be a neat opportunity.
Oh, that's great. Emily's great, man. I love them. They're good people.
There, you mentioned Joe Coddington. She and Emily and a lot of these folks, and quite honestly, I'm expecting the same thing is going to happen to Lewis Lee here in a couple of weeks. You come here and you feel connected to this event. When you come and you see the volunteers working, you see
Mhm.
8-year-olds and 80-year-olds working hand in hand, serving food, taking care of garbage, helping with parking. It's really an amazing thing, and that's the secret sauce is the people and the formula. Because when the show is all said and done, I mentioned it's a nonprofit.
Mhm.
Um, we write checks to about 130 different organizations who these folks volunteer for. So you might come work a food stand and you might be doing it for your church or your little league baseball team
Oh,
or your
nice.
car club. Last year we paid $272,000 back out to these organizations after the show, and this year we will eclipse the $9 million total payments issued since we were incorporated in the '80s. So it's
Wow.
um, it's cool to be a part of on so many levels. But when you come here and spend your money, it's supporting tons of killer causes.
That is great. That's great. You don't hear that too often. It's usually people are out to get the money and that's it.
Yep. Yeah. Nobody here is overpaid. That starts with me, and that works all the way down. But we love what we do, and it really is magic.
That's great. Well, that also shows car people. Car people are in it for the cars or the love of automobiles. So that makes a difference when it
Oh
comes
yeah.
to the bottom line.
And it's you know what it is, Lewis. It's time travel. This is the closest thing to time travel you can get. You come on these grounds, and for these folks that have been coming with their families, or their car show families for years,
Mhm.
it's a feeling. Iola isn't even a destination as much as it's a feeling when you get out on these grounds.
Nice, nice. Okay, so let me jump to, do you have a custom car or old
Oh
school?
man, this is gonna reveal just what a dork I am. Uh, so my standard answer is I've got kids, so I don't have anything cool. But I do have a '91 Volkswagen Vanagon that I love dearly.
Mm.
It's not nice in any way, but I love it. But I just picked up a few weeks ago a car that only I am excited about because it's like my first car, my first hand-me-down car.
Hmm.
So I picked up a 1989 Toyota Camry,
Oh
and
yeah.
nobody
Nope.
else wants that car. But my
No,
son
man,
just
those are
because
hot.
it's in really nice shape. It's got 92,000 miles on it. Tell you what, when I shut the door and those automatic seatbelts close, I'm 16 again. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
We were just talking about that car last week on the show. I'm
Really?
telling you,
Oh,
those cars
crazy.
they're getting hot, man. They're hard to find and people are really after those.
They are very hard to find. My first job out of school was as a Toyota technician, and we had one that would come in. Now, you're in the same boat. You're in the Midwest.
Hmm.
We had a car coming in that had 460,000 miles, and it was still coming in for regular oil changes.
Wow.
And it was so rusty, you could see the engine from all the way around the car. I mean, nobody would even put it on their lift because it was just amazing. It didn't turn into dust.
Yeah.
But this one was a little old lady's car, super sweet. And I asked after I bought it when the oil was changed last. They said, well, 150 miles ago, but that was 2019. It's crazy.
Wow. That's great. I'm glad you got it, man, because they're hard to find.
Yeah, they are.
So your Volkswagen, those are hot too, man. They're hard, starting to get hard to get.
That was a gift from God. I'm absolutely convinced, because that thing just popped up on Marketplace a couple of years ago one day, and I was the first one to call, and I got there the next day to pick it up, and the guy said, if you offer my dad 1 penny less, he's reposting it, because we had 68 phone calls since we heard from you yesterday, and
Wow.
he honored the price, and it really is a fun little nostalgia mobile.
Yeah. So how many kids do you have? Do you have kids that are going to be into the car stuff too?
I think so. I've got 3 children. My son just got his learner's permit, so he's 15. He's actually working for the car show on the pit crew. That's our grounds crew. So he's learning what time and a half looks like. He's putting in some long hours,
Nice.
weed whipping and putting up fences and moving stuff. So he's really getting the ground up experience, which is really cool.
Right.
My middle daughter is 11. She's kind of getting into it too. So yeah, I hope so.
Good, good. You know, anything you can get them involved in keeps them out of trouble.
That's right. That's right.
Yep. And we really need young people to get into the car love, because you know, a lot of the old guys are leaving. So we need to step up.
There's a lot of you know, our show historically is a classic car show, but we started integrating late models a couple years back, and we weren't sure how that would go. But honestly, the old timers really embraced the teens and the 20-year-olds that were driving some stuff that we just, you know, we wanted it to happen, but we weren't sure it would. And honestly, they really bonded and found a camaraderie that was very neat.
Oh, that's good. That's good. We talk about that here, that you know, a lot of a lot of the older car, like the big time car guys, are starting to step up and show these younger kids how to do stuff. And like we had Gene Winfield on here, and he was saying that he loves teaching. So he any chance he gets, he teaches kids how to do stuff.
Yeah, Gene's been to our show a bunch of times, and he's hard to find when he's here because he's out swapping.
You know what? He talked about it. He talked about it on the show here. Yep.
He a few years back, he chopped a car live at our show with Greg from Greg's Speed Shop, teaching those guys. It was an awesome experience.
Yep. He sure talked about it on the show. Yep. Great people, man. Greg was on the show, him and his wife, probably 3 months ago. They came on.
Yep. Yeah, we've got an awesome circle of friends. We really do. And that really is the car industry. You know, it's a very tight-knit, supportive group.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And the more I do around the country, you know, I do a lot of traveling to different shows, and I'm seeing the same people. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you go to SEMA and you're like in a big family reunion. You see all your friends, and so SEMA is like a reset for me every year.
Yep, I totally agree.
Yep. All right, I got a couple of guys in the chat room. I'll bring them in. Maybe they ask you a couple of questions, and I know you got to get back to your is it your daughter's softball?
Yeah, my daughter's playing softball right now, and it's rare this time of year that I get to get away from the showgrounds and catch it. But no, it's a beautiful night here.
All right, yeah, I won't hold you too much longer. Let's get the fellas in real quick. Hey guys, how's it going?
What's going on, Joe?
How's it going?
All right. Don't mind me. I'm trying to do 3 things.
So these are our usual OGs.
Suspects. Sounds like you got a really cool car show.
Yeah, it's been going on a long time. I'm just one of the team who are stewards of the show, but there's a lot of cool stuff that happens here.
Yeah, I'm starting to get excited. I'm going to try to make it up there for sure. I had to move a couple things around, but I think I can do it.
Yeah, you won't be disappointed.
So we got Brian here making all kind of noise.
Not me.
What's up, Brian?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Good, good. So we're trying to talk Brian into coming to pick us up in his tool truck, and we all caravan over to your car show.
Do it. We'll sell you swap space.
He's the Mecco man.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. We don't have many spots left, so you better let me know. I'll set aside. I'll put some cones out.
Don't worry, I make my own room.
So Brian has a, what is it, 69 Mustang?
66.
66.
Fastback.
So they got a big swap meet. You want me to pick you up anything while I'm up there?
I'm really looking for a set of fenders. A good set of fenders. That's what I'm really looking. That's the only thing I need left for a sheet metal. And I really wish the first time I did, I've had the car for 30 years.
Yep.
And the first time I did the car, I took the fenders off and put on aftermarket, and they were okay. I mean, they were okay for then, but today's aftermarket, I'd gotten a pair, and man, they are really bad. I wish I'd kept the 30-year-old ones and fixed them versus trying to put the new stuff on.
Yeah.
Well, it's here. I mean, it might be 16 miles of walking before you find it, but it's here.
Yeah. Whereabouts is this again?
Iola, Wisconsin, right in the center of the state.
Wow. That's a heck of a ride.
Iola, there's only one reason for it.
The car show. Yeah, for me it's about 7 hours, I think. So I'm trying to talk Terry into coming over, and
it's four to me. It's from me to you, Lewis. It's 4.
Yeah, yep.
So
I'm trying to talk Terry into coming over.
Yeah, sounds like a piece of cake to me.
Yeah, right. Throw some gas in and close your eyes.
That's right.
Wow. It's all right, Joe. Look, I'll let you get back to your game. I don't want you to miss your daughter's
yeah, no problem. I really appreciate you having me on. I'd love it if you guys can make it. Really, just keep me posted, and we'll do anything we can to accommodate.
Yeah, sure will. So, listen, once you come on this show, you're family now, so you can come on anytime. If you just want to come hang out with us, just hit me up, let me know. Or if you want to promote something.
Yeah, we have so many cool things that are always happening here, honestly, right now, and you guys would be interested in this. We've been put in charge of a large salvage liquidation operation that are neighbors of ours, and I mean huge, hundreds of cars that have been stored up over time and pretty deteriorated. It's not cherry stuff, but it's really interesting. And so we're going to have some of that on exhibit during the show. We've plucked some pieces to put within the swap meet, which is a very fun feature. And just this week, we unveiled for the entire community. We worked with the village to get permission for us to refurbish the Welcome to Iola community sign. And I guarantee you have never seen a sign like this when you drove into any community anywhere. This is we stole a car from an older gentleman in town. If you're a Mustang guy, it's a 69 Mach 1 428 Cobra Jet car. Beautiful car. We staged a photo shoot in a garage. Just a couple days ago, Monday, we unveiled the sign with him present, and he had no idea what we were about. But when you drive into town now, you see this, you know you're in the right place because it is breathtaking the way it came together.
Wow.
It's that kind of stuff we are always looking to do, and so I'd love to share that with your followers also.
Oh yeah, for sure. Anytime you want to come on, just let me know. I'll send you a link. These guys have been on for years.
Yeah, years. Yeah. Well, nice to meet you guys, and thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, Joe. I'll look forward to meeting you when I come up. And like I said, if you need anything, just let me know.
Sounds great. Thank you. We'll see you guys.
All right, good luck on the
be
game.
Safe.
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah. Joe's been telling me I got to go up there, so I got to go.
Sounds like a huge show.
Yeah. Greg was saying that it's like one of the largest swap meets in the country.
Wow.
And is that like, do they have like, I didn't hear, but he said, do they have like sections like, pre-war, post-war, You know, is it just broken down like that?
I don't know. Well, I know in the car show part they have it broke down like that, but I'm not sure on the swap meet part.
Yeah.
So he did say that.
I just missed. I was really mad, and I should have paid more attention, but I missed the Ford event at Carlisle.
Oh,
yeah, for the spring. I know they're going to have one in fall. I just got to really pay attention. And no, it's been a long time since I've been to Carlisle, but when I am serious though. I kick myself when I threw those fenders away because they were only rotted at the bottom, but this was all before patch panel stuff and everything, and I just didn't have the real room because I was still at my parents' house. You know, the car was torn apart. I tore it apart there, and I had stuff all over the house. I still have the windows, the front windshield and the back glass are under my parents' bed to this day still. You know, because like when I pulled all that stuff out, I was like, I got to find a safe place to put this because I don't want it to be broken or get broken.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but what if your parents get freaky one night and start jumping on the
bed? Well, I did worry about that a little bit, but like I said, unfortunately, I did when they when they did get a new bed later on. We had to raise it up so it had a cinder block base. That's what we used to put it on, so it wasn't really going anywhere. So I felt a little better. And unless mom's going to get her freak on because, dad's been gone for a while, but that could always happen. But like I said, I remember throwing those fenders away. And then, a couple of years later, they started making all that patch panel stuff. And then, of course, I guess they're on like their third generation or fourth generation of dies, stamp dies. And I've looked at them and they don't look right. I mean, they've been beaten so much. They're a little rounded. They're not as crisp lines.
Right.
And I was like, and I had one guy, he told me, I'll just get some of those fenders. I'll have to spend about, 3.5 days working on them to make them fit right, but bring them on by. It's only money. And I'm like, yeah, okay, buddy. I'm glad you can.
Wow.
So
I can imagine that, Bill.
Yeah, I'm like, look, I want the thing to look nice, but my Lord, it's not a show car, and
yeah.
So actually, I went up. I did go. This was like 2 years ago, I guess. I guess it was right before. I guess now since we put everything around the pandemic, I guess it was right before the pandemic. I had gone up there, and there was a set of fenders there, and the guy even said, "Hey, they're reproductions." And I said, "Yeah, but they're probably like the ones I had. They're like 30 years old." And he said, "Damn near to it." And he wanted $400, I think, $500 for the pair. And I was like, man, it's a little high but again, you could buy the remans are $175 for a pair. That's how cheap the price is,
really?
Or $200, and
yeah, but you got to play with them.
Yeah, and I said, all right, well, I'll be back. I'll think about it. Man, I should have bought them because I came back and they were gone. And I was like, damn it, I tell you, man. And OE or new old stock, they wanted $1,000 for them.
Really?
Each.
Wow. Because they're hot. It's a hot car. Yeah.
And I'm like, this is crazy. So I don't know. I've looked at a couple. There's I can't remember what that company is. They do a lot of what is it called? Not drifting, road racing. They do like Trans Am, and they have a bunch of body stuff. And it was kind of one day up at Burtonsville at our car show on Sunday. There was a guy there, and they were slightly flared, just not overly done, but just enough. And I asked him, I said, where did you get these fenders? Or, did you do these fenders or did you buy these fenders? And he said, oh, there's this company. And he gave me the address or the website. And I don't know. I really like it. It's just enough of a flare. And that's one of the problems with those cars, too. You can't put anything, especially today, you can't put anything big on them unless you're going to go with a 18 or a 19-inch, a taller tire,
Right.
type thing. And to me, that starts making the car look funny.
Yeah.
It's not right for that body style.
Or you might have to pull a Ring Brothers build. Did you see that truck that they built?
Yeah, dude.
I was looking at it the other day, and you see how the exhaust comes out, and they made that panel like offset. Man, that's pretty.
Well, it's funny what he said, because that's one of the things when you go in with a 4-link or on the Mustangs, either you have to drop the exhaust down and it has to come up because there's no room up on top, and you got to drop it down, or you got to have coming out the side. And I thought it was funny when he said, we lay the exhaust out, then we build the car around it, that type of thing.
Right.
And, I always, when you see something with a lot of meat on it, and, like you said, a 4-link or coilovers or even bags or whatever, and they run that exhaust out the back, they did a lot of work, because there's just not room for all that.
Yep.
And
it's crazy how detailed they get on their builds.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen one of their cars in person?
No. I don't want to say most. I don't think I have. I'm trying to remember. No, I don't think so, because the last time I don't know if they've ever done any World of Wheels. It's been a while since I've been to a World of Wheels or any kind of, custom show like that, or, a circuit that way. But Coach, what's up with the hat? You hiding something?
No, I'm just going beatnik style.
Okay.
I've even got the sideburns going.
I know. I see that. You're a witness protection plan. You changing up?
Yeah, I'm on the run. I'm trying to hide.
Is the black SUVs following you around, or
they were?
You didn't put in your update green card stamps or whatever?
Yeah, my green card ran out. It wasn't the black SUVs. It was the ones with the green stripe.
Yeah, I know how you guys operate. I deal with a whole bunch of you guys. You change every week. I was like, damn, what happened to that dude? It's me. Oh, okay. Oh, well. So I don't know. I'm hoping Ray got down okay and is trying.
Yeah, I know he probably ran into some weather going down.
Yeah,
this weather's acting crazy.
This weather's been. We've actually. It's rained for 2 days, a solid mist. We get a little shower here and there, but something's been falling out of the sky. It's actually, I hate to sound like my old man or whatever, but it's actually been really good, because we were, and we still are, but we were really low. I mean, our main water source here is the Potomac, and they said it was over 9 feet below lower level.
Really? Yeah, we were down too, because we didn't get any rain for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's actually been a while since we've actually had any rain. I mean, we had rain would come through, rain heavy, but all that stuff just runs off. You need that soaking saturated stuff,
Yeah, so I was on vacation last week, and it decided to rain on me, so I couldn't paint the bus. But
no, you never was able to squeeze it in.
No, and it sprinkled a little bit, but by the time I get it all set up, and
yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? I need like a good 3 days straight where it's not going to rain.
That's what I hate about it. Anything you try to do, and I guess it's the age. You say I'm going to do this, and by the time you drag everything out, you set it up, then you got to go take a leak. And it's over with. And then you go in, you take a leak, and then somebody starts talking, or you say, well, maybe I better eat something. So then you have a sandwich, and then you sit down for a minute and turn the TV on and doze off, and then the sun's going down, and you're throwing all the shit back in the garage. So,
yep,
it's tough. We'll do it. We'll start tomorrow.
Yeah. I wish I could get it into a garage. If I can get it into a garage for about a week, man, I could do a lot. I get a lot done.
Yeah, I bet. Or you, like you said, even in it really depends on how the rain. There's a lot you could do outside, but
yeah.
What
happens to me is my yard, I got trees on one side of the yard, but the sun comes up over, man, and it burns you up, man. Like I can't do anything when the sun's up. It gets so hot, and then so I gotta kind of wait for it to cool off, or the sun go past the house, and then you only got an hour or two left after that. So
yeah,
it's always something where it's too cold or it's too hot, or
Yeah, you need well, like I said, it's. I understand. Of course, I'm on a main drag, so God forbid you can't leave anything out. Outside. I left my hand cart out one day when I took the trash down to the end of the driveway, and I had the hand cart. And literally had somebody stop pulling the driveway and thought, like, how much is for the hand cart? Like I was having a yard sale or something, So you can't leave anything out because they see and stop in.
Yep, same here.
So. But I will tell you, you want to get rid of something? All you got to do is put it out in front of my house because, dude, it's gone.
Look, when I took those seats out, man, I was sweating. I was like, man, what am I doing all these seats? I had 72 seats. Yeah. Man, I put them on the curb. I took the wife to Dairy Queen, came back. They were gone. I was like, yes.
Yeah, dude. Those, yeah. You put anything out front. I tell people all the time, you want it gone, just put it out in front of my house because it's gone.
Yep. Anything metal.
It was funny. I was at the our school lot Tuesday. And they had, let's see here if I can remember right, 18 school buses getting ready to go to the school lot, to the auction.
Really? I wonder what they went for.
I don't know, but they were loading them up. They were lining them up. And it was funny because, like on actually the guy, they were all, he said that they should have gone 3 years ago, but because of COVID, they didn't go, and they're going now. So they were all 2010, so they were all 10 years old.
Yeah, here they get rid of them. I think 12 years after 12 years.
Yeah. So, and I was like, oh, so those. How do you know that? And then of course the buses have numbers on them. And he said the first two is the last year. So they were all 10. The number started out 10. And if it had a 4, that means it had an electric door, like an elevator, like a wheelchair door. If it was a 6, it's a pusher. If it's a 5, it's a puller. I learned all the numbering systems. So now, like, if I really need to impress the female, I can talk about school bus numbers or something,
Hey, you might be in there.
Well, the funny thing is, I laughed at the guy. He goes, man, you picked that stuff up pretty quick. And I said, you never know. I might be somebody's lifeline. You might be on Listen, Who's a Millionaire? And they're going to say, how do you read a school bus number? And I know a guy. I'll call Brian.
Yep.
So,
Tyler, he started watching videos too because he's building his bus. And he's like, man, every video I watch, the nerdiest guys got the prettiest women on these buses. He goes, I think I'm gonna be good. He said all the women are hot.
That was funny. This was I had first started with the Mako, you know. I mean, I was only in for a couple of months, and I was at one of my stops, and this very attractive, tall blonde comes out and knocks on the side of the truck. And I was like, yeah, can I help you? And she goes, you don't mind if I look around, do you? And I'm like, oh, no, help yourself, you know? And she gets up there and she's oohing and ahhing and looking at this and touching that. And she goes, oh, you got the newer truck with the 5 shells and blah, blah. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty interesting here, you know? And I'm like, so what's your name? And she goes, oh, I'm so-and-so. And I'm, Brian's fiance, you know, they're making, you know, one of my other tool guys' fiance.
Oh, so she knew all about the truck.
And I was like, oh, now I know why you know so much about the truck. He goes, yeah, he's thinking about getting one. He's got the older model, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Yeah,
Out the door.
Yeah. All right. I gotta get to work, man. Get off the truck. Nothing to see here. Move along. So, but it was kind of funny. I was like, damn, this chick knows all this and got this down and these numbers and should have known.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I made my toilet the other day, my compost toilet.
Oh, yeah.
I almost got it done. I was going to take plywood and wrap it around the front, like round it. So I cut lines in it halfway through so I could bend it. Well, didn't work out because for some reason some of the lines went higher than the others. Some went low. I don't know what was going on. So when I tried to bend it, I was like, I seen a guy put a ratchet strap on his. So I was like, all right, I think it'll work. So I put a ratchet strap on. Man, that thing blew apart. So I was like, oh, all this work. I had about an hour in it cutting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Sometimes you soak them down with water real good, and you gotta get. I mean, soak. I mean, you gotta really soak it and get it wet, and then put the ratchet on there because that gives it. It makes it a little pliable.
Yeah, I'm putting metal on it. Screw it. But I did get it done. It came out pretty good. I got my urine inverter in, and toilet seat. Came out pretty good.
Did you you said you got your inverter? How many inverters are you running?
No, this is the urine inverter. It's
yeah,
that's what they call it. I'm actually for the power. I'm using. I'm gonna go with 3,000 watt Renogy, I believe. Depends unless I can find a better price on something, But
are you what is it? Wave? What is it called?
Pure sine wave.
Sonic? What was it?
Sine wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask about that because I got the same problem with the electronic stuff. Some of the dirtier, cheaper inverters you can't run test equipment on. So if you have a stereo or something like that, you need something pure. It's called pure sine wave.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the new stuff.
It's be a little more expensive.
Yeah,
of course.
But I think pretty much everybody's starting to make them now with that. But the real cheap ones, yeah, you're right. I forget what they call it. The good one is the pure wave, and I forget what the other one is.
Yeah, because I had that problem. Even with my new truck, I don't know what inverter's in it. I know it's a 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's 3,000, but that was one of the problems when I put my jet printer in it. It wouldn't. I couldn't run the jet printer off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
electronic stuff is a lot more sensitive, and it needs a cleaner signal.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I had to go back to the other printer, and when I cause some of the new trucks have a jet printer in them, and but they have that Pure Sonic or whatever it was.
Yep.
And they wanted a lot of effing money for those things, dude. I was like,
they're coming down in price, like $400 or $500 for a 3000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I thought maybe I'd get a smaller one and just run that off of it for the. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, it has pure sine wave.
Yep.
Yeah. What size is that one, Jim? What size is that?
Oh, this is a little one. 350. Just to run some test equipment off it when I'm out in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I was telling. I don't know if you heard, but I was thinking maybe I'll just get a small one just from the jet printer.
Yeah,
and
that might work.
You don't need much.
Yeah, and I figured instead of trying to run the whole, getting one and spending, $400 or $500 to run the whole truck, run my jet printer.
Yeah. So on your truck, do you got a solar?
They don't care.
Do I have solar?
Yeah.
No, not yet. I mean, I've looked into it. But I don't have solar. I've thought about it.
I found a place out by Isaac.
Yep.
They buy like all those solar farms. They'll buy the used ones because I guess if like they have a row of solar panels, and if one starts to go bad, it'll mess up all the rest of them. So they'll.
I've talked to a guy. I can't remember the name of the company, but I talked to a guy. He's out in Arizona, and they make a lot of stuff for RVs.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the problems was it's for stationary, not as moving. Now he said that they are making them so they are more. That's the problem with the truck. It's amazing how much that truck flexes going down the road.
Yeah.
And he said that because I said, man, if I can load up the roof on the truck, and then when I get someplace and, instead of having it running, just, run off the solar or charging the batteries. And he said, well, the stuff that's being made now is so that you're fixed and then you pull it out. He said, because having that stuff mounted to the top of the truck and the way those things flex, there's not enough play and you'll have a problem. He said it's coming that they will be more flexible and keep them, they'll be, you can have them live all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but
no, they have those, they're like flexible, like they're like paper and you stick them to the roof.
Right. Well, they're getting better. He told me about those, but they didn't have you need a lot of space. The grid work is bigger, and he says time goes, they'll be able to make them smaller so they can output will be more.
Yeah.
That's like when we had our house done. We got really lucky because they were going to do it, and we had we had some snow for a couple days, and which put them back behind schedule when they were doing all the other houses. And when they came up to ours, when they delivered, he said, man, you lucked out because you got the new model, which, produces X amount more because the grid work is tighter. They could fit more of a grid work versus the older ones. And of course, that's like everything else electronic, dude.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you buy it, it's outdated and they got something 10 times, but
Yep.
not even 10 times, 5 times better, or even 10 times better. It's kind of a luck of a draw. That's why it's so funny when I got guys, selling scanners, little scanners. I walk in and they say, how old is it? I said, it's the newest scanner we have. And it never fails. I'll sell them a scanner, and then 2 weeks later, there'll be another new one in the next flyer. And he goes, hey, I thought I had the newest scanner. And I said, dude, it's like your cell phone, dude.
Yeah.
Or it's like anything you buy. Well, I want to trade it for that. And I'm like, oh my God, that dude, you registered it. It's, it's such a pain to go through all that.
Yeah.
And I said, there might be a different function. No, I don't want to say function. There might be a different feature, but it's reading the same thing. There's not like it has newer information.
Mm-hmm.
They might have made it easier to get to a different page, like, a reset or a reset or whatever. They might have put a button in for it to go to that faster instead of 2 clicks. It's 1 click now or whatever,
Right.
which I understand to the point, but it's not like it's got any newer information.
So I'm going to try to go with the biggest panels I can get. They have like 450 watts. So if I can get like 6 of those, 8 of those, they're running anywhere from 150 to 300, depending on if you get a deal. Sometimes they have big sales out there, but the problem is they make you ship it on a pallet.
Yeah.
So the shipping is like crazy from there to here.
Yeah, because it's trucking now. Now it's not shipping anymore.
Yeah.
Well, actually, technically, that's the cheapest way is on a pallet, because you can load a pallet up as much as you can put on a pallet, because that's the footprint of the space that they can load it. You know, so that's always been. I stumble across that with Matco every once in a while. I'll have a big order, and instead of sending it UPS like I normally get stuff, they'll truck freight it because it's saving them money, and they just throw it on a pallet, and they can put as much as on the pallet. They're only paying for that pallet space. And it's not a weight thing after that.
So I'd like to maybe find some other people. I think Tyler's going to buy some from that company too.
Yeah.
So we can buy them all at one time, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I wish like I said, I'd done it. Actually, I wish I had saved it, but I took a piece of Velcro, stuck it on the back of my phone, and stuck it on the wall, and hit the video and went driving down the road. Dude, it is. I mean, you want to talk about like a torture? You throw somebody in the back of the truck, lock the door, and go for a ride, because if they ain't getting hit with stuff or things flying around, it's just amazing what goes on, or how much. No wonder every time. And I'm not even Tokyo's drift style yet. I mean, I'm driving normal. You know what I'm saying? I'm not running late. You know.
Well, all the guys that are building.
Didn't the cops have something like that by you?
What?
Didn't the cops do something like that by you not too long ago?
Oh yeah. They throw that paddy wagon's a little rough throwing. Yeah.
They get the special drive.
Yeah, you go around the block twice. Yeah, right up on that curb a few times.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He was telling me the story that one time he got busted for something. With something stupid, defending a girl from a boyfriend or something like that. And of course, they said, "Look, we got to take in. Don't worry about it. It won't be any big deal." So they put him in the paddy wagons, and then they picked up some other guy, and he starts mouthing off. It's like, "Oh shit, don't do it." And sure enough, he got the ride. He's banging off the walls and all this stuff. It's like, "Oh, you had to say something."
All the people that are building these buses, they say build it strong, like you're in an earthquake. Every time you drive it somewhere, you're in an earthquake.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to overbuild much as I can. Stuff's so expensive, man. It's hard.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, like I said, you gotta really. It's like I said, it's amazing how much that stuff flexes around and moves. I was really surprised. So you definitely have to make sure it's tied together.
I'm looking at these panels right now. Let's see.
Yeah, look at it.
250 watt panels, $47.
Yeah.
Here's a pallet, 25 for $1,400. That's cheap. You get 25 solar panels.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, they're on sale. See, they're always gonna sell when I'm broke.
Oh, Lewis, a man of your talent, charms, and good looks. Come on,
Man,
you're never broke.
I can't sell my body no more. I crossed over, 50 years old, so
it's okay. Those older women still love you. Don't worry. And they're all big tippers.
Yeah.
What do you need it for?
All right, here we go. 455 watts, solar panels 254. So the more watts on each panel, the less panels I need.
Yeah.
I might get like 5 of those, 6 of those.
You just gotta. I mean, it's all. I hate to sound, but it comes down to doing the math and what you need, and you just you gotta figure in. You got to come up with what you want. I mean, is it going to be? I'm going to go 10% over or 20% over. You know what I'm saying? You just when you figure that in, and so that because I'll tell you one thing, it will definitely suck if you get halfway through and you're short. There ain't nothing like being a little short.
That's what she said.
Yeah, well, so I know we're live, and I don't know about a PG rating, but if you pull the ball sack, you get 2 inches. So that can always help out when you need it.
Okay.
Hey, little guys know that stuff. I don't know.
Hey, I mean, there's just some secrets, that got to share eventually. So
yeah. So Isaac, what's going on in your neighborhood?
Not much. Just been doing camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. I've had at least 11 kids, 10 to 11 kids showing up on a regular basis and putting in the work. I showed them some videos of Herschel Walker where he talks about his push-up regimen, because I have him do 3 sets of push-ups, one regular grip, regular push-up, one with the diamond hands where your hands are right in the middle, and then one where your elbows are tucked in and they're going straight back, and then I have them doing sit-ups, and then we break into going over fundamental stuff. This week we're doing defense, breaking down, what the job is on defense and what they're doing, and for football, because football is the next sport coming up. But the good thing is when the kids come out for the summer is we're not trying to get prepared for a game, so I can slow it down and take the time to really teach them stuff. Where when it's in season, you got to learn on the fly, and we got to go now.
Right, right. Well, yeah, Lee's talking about Class A RV cabinets and stuff breaking off. I'm telling you, man, those RVs, they're not built well at all.
No.
Big money ones.
Yeah.
It was funny. We had one of our new guys, and he sent the picture, his Oakley cabinet. He heard a crash and got to his next stop, and the Oakley cabinet was laying in the center of the truck, and I told him, I said, dude, you don't realize every weekend you got to walk around and tighten everything up. It's it's a part, because if you don't, this is what happens, and we have my old truck had wood shelves, which were a lot better or more sturdier. I got metal ones, and I can't tell you how many brackets I've had to weld up and redo because they crack with the weight and all that stuff bouncing around.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to the point where I don't move my shelves around because you loosen, you can move them, and I pretty much put them all where they are, and I bolted them together or screw them into the side of the truck, inside the wall,
right?
Just to keep them from bouncing around or moving, because I got tired of welding up the brackets. So,
speaking of welding and stuff, this last weekend I went over to my stepmom's house to pick up some cabinets or some lockers and stuff that my dad had for a bunch of his different things, and picked up some of that stuff, and then picked up the lockers. But I had to do the wiring on my son's Blazer for the trailer connection. The trailer I inherited from my dad. That thing is so heavy. He so overbuilt that thing. I mean, I'm gonna have to get the torch out and cut metal off of it to lighten it up. I mean, that thing. I had somebody tailgating me, and I'm like, if you hit that trailer, your car's gone. Like,
Wow.
it's not even gonna dent the trailer. You're not gonna do any damage to the trailer. Your car is gone. You know. In fact, I was looking at the frame, and it looked like he built the frame out of I-beams. I mean, it is heavy metal.
Hey, you gotta use what you got.
Yeah, I mean, he built it from scratch, and I mean, I've got to measure the steel on it. I mean, like the fenders has that, you know, those off-road bumpers, like those bull bars or whatever the that you put on the trucks.
Yeah.
I think the steel plate for the fenders is thicker than that. Than what they make those heavy duty off-road bumpers out of.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is.
Yeah, the only thing you got to watch out for is when you start making stuff heavy, you got to remember you got to tow it or move it, you know, and it gets kind of crazy. I had a buddy of mine, he had made a chassis for his car, and he got carried away, and time he got done, the car weighed 500 more pounds than it did from the factory. You know, you started adding stuff, and it was sturdy as a rock, but you know, you just got to remember there's overkill, and then there's overkill. So,
well, I started. I'm gonna make one of my storage boxes under the bus. So I started welding up a frame, and I used some bed rails. And when I welded them together, I was like, man, this don't seem like it's gonna be strong enough. So I went and bought some angle iron.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to overbuild. I got a lot.
I'm watching you drive the bus here, Lewis, on your Instagram.
Yeah.
And the one you're on the move, baby. That's what you have here.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till you get it painted, because the way the gray is across the top, and almost, you know, the gray across the top there, and almost like it's the Napa parts truck with a hat. You know what I'm saying? Because the way it's cut out, it just looks like you got a hat on it.
That's funny.
You got the yellow front, and then you got the gray, and then you got the yellow. So it looks like it's like, you know, the bill of the hat or whatever.
Yeah.
You've done a lot to that thing, man. I can't, every time, I don't know how old the video is or how much.
Shot that one last week.
Yeah. Because, it's really, every time you look at it, you can see how much you've really done. It's a lot.
Yeah, I was looking back through videos and pictures. And I'm like, man, I really did a lot.
Yeah.
That, you know, and I'm like 3/4 of the way.
Right. And you still think you got, I mean, you're like, dude, I'm not even halfway. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
I think the best part about the whole thing, though, it's movable. I think that's the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how much it felt when I got the Audi to move, or, you know, when it started up and moved. Now, of course, I'm at the point where, okay, I need to do the clutch and I need to this, but it was just like, man, this is so great that it moves. It starts and it moves, you know. And I can, with the other projects that I have, and you're like pushing it around or trying to figure out what you're going to do, it's just a big thing.
Yeah, I know the feeling, because my caddy, I look back there and every tire is flat.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at him like, oh, I want to get it out to the driveway where I can put that last gas line on. I can tinker around with it and try to sell it, I think. But you always got to do something before you can sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the bottom line is, I don't want to say, well, you know, your priorities or your taste changed about, or, you know, what you want to do. I mean, that's that's the biggest thing about
growing up.
Yeah, well, getting the thing done, and there's always we all know that it's great to build one like that, but we all know how much money and time you save when you have one already done, or you pick up somebody else's project that's almost done.
Yeah, there's a guy on my route. He has. I think he's buying all the 70s, the different body styles, because
oh yeah,
man, he probably has 7 old schools. He has a 59 convertible Cadillac. They're all Cadillacs. He has I think a 61 Eldorado. He has a couple coupes, 77 coupe. He got a 79 coupe.
Oh wow.
He has I think it's I want to say a 68 convertible.
Oof.
Man, and they're all clean. I mean, and he parks them in the yard. I drive by them all the time. I'm like, man, I go my parks right there, sitting looking at me.
Yeah.
Real clean. And this dude don't work, so I'm.
Yeah. Must be working something. All right, guys, time for me to bail. I gotta get going.
All right, Jim. Thanks for hanging out,
Jim.
Have a good week.
A new radio controlled car this week.
Oh yeah.
Mustang.
Mustang.
Yeah.
Shelby GT 500.
Yeah,
Nice.
I was selling it. It was good enough price, and we got a class just for those cars. This particular type of chassis, anyway. It has Mustang body on it, so I know you'd like that.
Yeah. I like that color.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool color. I gotta find out what it is. I know the company that makes it. I gotta find out what color it is.
Is it like a copper, orange or thing?
It's metallic orange, I think, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it comes out. I know there's one particular company, and if you deal with models or anything like that, you've heard the name Tamiya.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a Tamiya paint specifically for radio controlled bodies, because these are Lexan. You got to paint them from the inside, so the paint's always flexible. Unlike model paint, which is shiny but not flexible. So if you put model paint on this, it would crack.
The first when I had some RCL 10s, remote control cars. The RC 10s.
RC 10s, yeah.
Yeah, and the first one I had, I went to paint the body, and I painted it on the outside.
Oh.
And I didn't know. And of course, the guy that I dealt with at the hobby store, I walked in and I was like, dude, this doesn't look. And he's like, what the hell did you do? And I said, I painted it. And he goes, you got to paint it from the inside. And I was like, what? Get out of here, dude. And so I'll have to dig mine out. But
so are they clear?
Yeah, the
body's clear.
And so I paint. So I had. So when he goes, well, you need a new body, and I said, well, I want the 65, 66 fastback, and I told him what color. So he painted it the color of my car, blue.
Oh, nice.
And so I have the RC car. Actually,
there you go.
That's pretty cool.
Where'd he go?
I think he's fine. He's looking for the car.
Funny story about. There it is. Sorry, I couldn't find it.
It must be in my storage. It must be in my storage storage locker, because I don't have it here. But I had it painted, and I had yellow. They were 6014s. They were the 7-inch regular seal beam headlights. But a buddy of mine was in the military. He got them from Europe, and they're yellow. So I always had yellow headlights with the blue car that I ran around on the streets. So when I did my RC car, I had them painted yellow and the dark metallic blue. I get pulled over because, of course, then I would say, well, they're seal beam. I mean, they're seal, but and they were from Europe. But again, they weren't legal in the States, because it really didn't, like I said, because the reflecting on the street signs didn't really reflect with only on white light. The yellow didn't do it, but
Okay.
I went around for many years with yellow headlights in. So,
I had blue headlight covers.
Take care, guys.
Man.
all right, Jim,
All right,
take
take it
care.
easy. Man, the police hated me coming up the hill, boy.
Yeah,
I had blue headlights, and it would like really light up the sky.
Yeah,
and it's like, you can't have those police lights. I was like, oh, I didn't know. And then a couple days later, they see me again.
Yeah,
I was like, I'll tow your car.
And then behind the grill, I had they were aviation headlights. They were from a Cessna small plane or whatever. And dude, when you lit that son of a bitch up, boy, it was daylight, man. It was. Yeah. And I changed. I found where they had yellow lights for that, so I switched it back to white lights on the outside and yellow on the on the inside.
Oh, that's cool.
And dude, I tell you, man, you come up and our police cars are in Montgomery County are white. So you came up on a police car, it turned it pea yellow when you had those yellow headlights on, dude. And man, you get pulled over. And I don't know what they were. I don't know what wattage the aviation lights were, but they were bright.
Yeah.
They were bright.
I got these for the bus. Hold on.
Wow, yeah.
So these are Summit Racing.
Yep.
I got one for the front, one for the back, and then I have two small ones for the sides.
Wow, that's awesome.
These are gonna be my Sasquatch lights.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what the Jeep guys call them. Because I got lighted up.
I have one of those on the back of the tool truck on the floor, on the bottom. So when I turn it on, when I'm backing up, it lights everything around.
Yeah.
Around. It doesn't show it backward. I already have one light that goes back, this way. But around, like I said, because I have a backup camera, so it lights up everything around the truck. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
They don't. They of course they don't really like that stuff around here, but
Yeah, I didn't put them on yet because I'm scared somebody will steal them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you'll even when you do put them on, you'll have to even though it doesn't really. But if you use security fasteners.
That's what I was thinking. Yep.
So, something that only tightens and you can't but you want to make sure when you put it on, that's what you want, because they have some that are cut, so they only tighten. So you can't, you can eventually get them off. Anything can be getting into. You just want to make it so that they can't do it. Yeah. You don't want them to do it in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
They'll think twice if it's going to take them a little bit of time.
Yep.
Especially if they got to make noise, any kind of noise. Huh?
Put some Loctite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, most of these crackheads have a crack pipe, and all you got to do is heat it up a little bit.
Hey,
Lewis, I always want to ask you, and I know we're getting late, but, you ever watch Live PD?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's my favorite show. So how close are you to where is it? Where are they? They're in Ohio on one town. Starts with a T. Toledo. Yeah. How close are you to that?
I'm on the other side of the state. About 3 hours.
Oh, okay. Because man, there's some interesting neighbors, boy. Whew.
Listen, they're always in Ohio. All of those police shows.
Yeah. Well, we had the problem too, because back in the day when it was not Live PD, but whatever it was before it got pulled off.
Cops.
No, not cops.
Cops.
It was not cops. It was the one not Live PD. What's the show that he had before when we had to go through our sensitivity program and we couldn't show police officers anymore? Live Live PD,
I
and
don't
it
know.
was I can't remember what the show was called before, but they were here in Maryland.
Oh, the first 48. They're here a lot too.
And they were in Maryland, down in southern Maryland, which, you know, is about, I don't know, 2 hours from me or whatever, 3 hours. But, you know, it was all these drunk drivers, you know, DUIs and chasing down there, and people, you know, all these drunks, that it got to a point where the city council down there said, we don't want you film anymore because we're not all drunks. I mean, because that's how bad it got, you know.
Yeah.
And they actually but what actually happened was they had a shooting, and they went in the house. There was went into the house, had a shooting, and they showed, or they said who was killed before they notified the person. The family member was at a bar watching it on TV. That's how they found out instead of being notified.
Oh no.
And it was a big mess down here for a while with that, because that's why if you watch it now, and when they have something that happens, they kind of fade back and say, we'll keep an eye on this, because they got their ass handed to them, because they got the person found out on TV instead of being notified or whatever.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
But I mean, like I said, that's Friday and Saturday night, man. I'm watching that, and I always see that. I was like, man, I'm doing one of these things, like looking in the background.
Is that Lewis?
Is that Lou? That's Lewis, man. I know that's Lewis. Look at that beard. That's him. I know it.
Jumping the fence. Those are my young days. Those days are over. I could barely jump off the porch.
Yeah. Is that guy hobbling? That guy's wobbling down the road there, dude. He can't. Cop ain't running after him.
Yep.
So, but I was just curious about because you know, Mako is in Stowe.
What is that?
That's that trailer.
That trailer.
Picture of the trailer. Yeah.
What was he hauling in it?
He was setting it up to haul sand, block, you know, stuff to do construction, carpentry, a little bit of everything.
Okay.
But he made it so heavy when he got it weighed, they're like, what are you hauling? And he told them, and they said, you can't get but a bag of sand. Like, if you get taken to the weigh station, you'll be overweight. Here's the rear.
Wow. That's funny.
And if you look right here, that's a hinge he made so that it pops up. It has the dump feature. But that dang thing's so heavy. In fact, we were going through stuff when we were cleaning out those lockers, and you remember those old jacks from the 70s that they would hook to the bumper and you jack them up, and I'm like, my stepmom was taking stuff like scrap steel to the steel yard to get rid of and make money. And I said, I don't need those. I don't even know why he had those. I said, those are actually pretty dangerous. Well, then I was messing with the trailer the other day, and I was like, I know exactly why he had them. He had 2 of them, and they were to jack the trailer up to dump, and then he could use a come along to bring it back down. And I'm like, oh my God. But she had already gotten rid of them before I realized what they were for. And I told her, I said, don't worry about it. I said, I need to lighten the thing up anyways, and I want to put one of those hydraulic rams back there and set it up to automatically do it.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, he used thick, heavy steel on that thing.
That's funny.
Crazy.
I mean, I swear a tornado could come and hit that thing, and that thing won't move.
What did the man say? You gotta carry 1 bag of sand.
Yeah. I mean, it was so heavy. He's like, he goes, you better be careful if you're hauling sand and stuff, and it's just not gonna. You get taken to a weigh station, you're gonna be overweight with 100 to 200 pounds of sand, you're already overweight. And I mean, and I've seen where he had that thing, he had it loaded to the top with sand.
He's
and I
lucky
mean,
he didn't blow out tires. I mean, because
yeah,
most trailer tires are something like 8-ply, and I think the thickest ones are 14-ply. But 14-ply tires like $1 million today.
Well, and get this, I went down to, there's a used tire shop around the corner, and he can buy new tires. And I was like, if anybody knows what these tires are, because I had to replace 2 of them. So if anybody knows what these tires are, this guy will. I took them in, and I guess they're on Ford rims. Those rims are Ford truck rims.
Uh-huh.
But I guess those tires, from what the guy at the tire shop was telling me, is they're mobile home rims or mobile home tires. Like,
wow, yeah.
When you buy a trailer to live in, a full size, like trailer park trailer.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's what those tires are.
Yeah. It was funny. We had a guy, this was the earlier Isuzus had like 15-inch rims, I guess, 14-inch rims. They were smaller tires. They weren't like, like what you see on box trucks today. They were like regular truck tires,
Yeah.
And mine was a 2000. My first truck was a 2002, I think, or 2003, 2002. And that was the first year that they went to 19 and a half rims.
Mm-hmm.
But the year before, they were still 15s. They were just like little, tires, right? And so this one guy that went in our district, I was like, man, those tires were expensive. He goes, I don't understand why they were expensive. They were cheap. I went down to NTB and had tires put on, and I was like, dude, I said, what tires did you put on? And he told me, and started thinking. Of course, later at one of our district meetings, he had his truck there, and I saw him pull in. Man, those things were puffed out. He had put car tires on there on that dual truck, and those things were like, I said, dude, I said, thank God this thing doesn't go over 30 miles an hour, because A, it'd be all over the road, and 2, you blow one of these tires out. I said, you need at least, a light duty or a truck tire on this thing. And so he went a while, and when he had to buy another set, go through tire, had to buy tires, he took us someplace, and he goes, man, these tires were expensive. And I was like, yeah, you put no car tires on there, dude. You're lucky to have a blowout on it or something,
That's funny.
Yeah. Tires were all puffed out from the weight. I was like, oh my God.
Well, I'm going to be doing a lot of, like, especially on those fenders and stuff, I'm going to be doing a lot of cutting that steel out and redoing it. On the inside panel, inside of the wheels, I'm going to cut that out and probably put corrugated. Is that the right term? The one, the
corrugated
steel, yeah, with the holes in it.
Yep.
Yeah, because I figure it's not going to get on anything because the rest of the frame is right there. If it kicks up mud or anything. And then that right there will take out a lot of weight. And then
just have your a basket sitting on a scale and get an idea how much weight you're taking out.
Yeah. And then on the panels, he had it set up where you could slide the rails in the panels, and he's got wood on there. I think it's like 3/4 inch plywood. I'm planning on taking that out and replacing it with probably aluminum.
Yeah, that plywood's heavy by itself.
Yeah.
And it's probably marine plywood, which is, that stuff's like, you could build a boat or a submarine out of, that stuff's pretty durable, marine.
Well, when my dad served in the Navy, he was a CB, he was construction battalion. So
there you go.
He built it that's like a military trailer.
We had at my parents' house, we had a deck. They had a deck off the back, and it was made from 3/4 inch marine plywood, and it was there forever. I mean, and when my dad decided to put a concrete slab instead of having that deck there, and to this day, I mean, that was 40 some years ago. I still have a bunch of that plywood, and it's amazing. I've had it outside for a couple of years. I brought it in. I cut, make a tabletop out. That stuff is thick and heavy, dude. And still, I mean, that's been over 50, almost 50 years I've carried that stuff around. Yeah, 40 years.
Wow.
That marine plywood stuff is incredible.
Lee said 10 ply trailer tires cost 180 retail, 230.
Yeah. Yep. 10 ply. Yeah. Yeah. I just saw that. I just downside. Yeah. Yep.
I'm not looking forward to getting tires for mine, for the bus. I'm thinking $600-$700 a piece.
Wow.
Yeah. You gotta. It just before you paint it, just swing it by the school system one time, and maybe they'll slip some tires on without them noticing. You can slip on.
I kind of stick out like a thumb now.
Yeah,
get away with it.
when I go to the my school, I go to two of our school depots, and I said, damn, I wish I had this size rim on my tool truck. And the guy goes, why? And I said, because they just have tires lined up, all ready to go, because when they need tires, especially like a road call or whatever, they have the tire and everything together.
Yeah.
So they just got a row of tires, and I'm like, dude, it's like, man, can I roll 6 out? You know what I'm saying? And
the tires on our buses, they rent those tires.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Who knows what that costs?
Yeah.
I mean, it's cheaper. I'm sure it's cheaper, but still, it got to be expensive to rent. Well, they do a lot. We have, I want to say we have 50 or 60 buses. So I'm sure they go through them.
It's still on my route. I haven't been in there in a while. I didn't really do much business in there. But I have the ride on public transportation bus slot that I go to. And I remember going in there. I'm kind of curious now how they had theirs, because they had the same thing. They just had tires lined up ready to go and so forth. So
everything's expensive now. I mean, you can't get away with nothing.
Yeah.
Lee said he's heading off, and Papa Squirrel said rent tires, ?
Yeah. Yeah, they rent the tires from a company. I don't know where, and I don't know how many you have to rent at one time, but they do.
And I'm sure, like I said, they get to a certain point and they come get them, and they either retread them, I guess.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to ask. Do they retread them? Because you're mainly on the city streets, right? You don't go on the freeway at all, right?
A couple of them do, but not too often. They're mostly city.
Yeah, but that's city. Trust me, man. That's city bouncing off curbs or trying to
say it. We tear the sides up.
You tear those sides up. I don't even care how careful you are, because you got all kinds of idiots. Luckily for me, of course, after 20 years. And it's funny because some of the Metro guys, the Metro and the ride-on buses are the same guys that have the same route that I have. So we see each other, we know, and at least, pulling in and out, moving around, we're all pretty casual with each other. But I've seen them, like I said, some of these, people drive around you guys, drive around us big trucks or buses like assholes. And man, you're ready to crunch them in, box them in the corner real hard, But I tell you, man, I hate, like I said, especially when they're doing so much construction. I had a tire one time. They had dug up the sidewalk and the curb, so on the storm drain, all there was that 3/4 of an inch angle iron hanging out, just floating out in the middle of the road.
Oh wow!
And because there's no curb, no nothing, and I came by that and got pinched up on that and scraped that across the front of the tire. Man, it ripped the tire. I mean, that tire was off. It was gone, dude. And I was like, mother, man, that just pissed me off, dude.
Yeah, that's terrible.
You get to your next stop and you look at it and there's just the rim sitting there. There's no tire. It's like, what?
One time in my semi, I got a flat. I wasn't thinking, so I called the service guy out, and he was smiling, right? I was like, why is he smiling so hard? He goes, you know how much it's going to cost you? I was like, no. He goes, it's $700 for the tire, and then another $300 for me to put it on. Wow. I was like, oh my God, really? I was like, man, I took one of the tires off the back. It was a front tire that blew.
Yeah.
I took one of it off the back, put it on the front. I whipped it back home and got me a used tire. And no way I'm paying that kind of money for a service call.
Yeah. I did that. I had that same problem. I had that problem one time with the front tire, and they were like, what are you going to do? And I said, I got a tool truck, dude. I got everything right here in the truck, man. And I took one off the back, put it up front, put that one on the back, and I finished the route, finished the day out, came home and ordered a tire and had one dropped off at the house, and I spooned it on. I mean, like I said, I spooned it on, and
I learned to spoon them too. So I bought a tire and just strapped it to the back, the bulkhead, and then every time I got flat, I spooned it right on the side. And I had this one guy, man. He came by. He goes, why are you taking the rim off? He goes, you can change it on the truck. I was like, what do you mean? Yeah. He spooned it off the truck while it was still on the back. He did it right there. I was like, oh my God, that's sweet.
Yeah, I saw a guy. I was like, I'll take. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, he was young. He was a young guy. He's muscling it.
Yeah.
But he did it.
And it was funny because if it's an outer back tire, like you said, you didn't have to jack it up because all you needed was I have a 2x4 in the truck, and you just drive up on that one tire, lift it up a little bit, and up off. And somebody said something one time, we only have one jack on the truck. How did you jack up the front and do all that? And I said, well, I just lifted the back up, with a 2x4. And that way I just got it up enough to get the tire off, jacked up the front, changed it, and back on the road.
See, I need to buy all that stuff now because when I sold my trucks, I sold I gave them everything. Yeah. So I need to get new jacks and, all that stuff, really.
Yeah.
For the bus. It sucks breaking down, man, I'll tell you.
Yeah, dude. I know.
I used to break down, man, and I'd call my mechanic and go like, hey, I broke down. He's like, well, he goes, I can't get to you for 2 weeks. I was like, I'm on the side of the road. He goes, what's wrong with it? I'll tell you how to fix it. Man, he saved me so much money telling me how to fix stuff.
Yeah.
I'll fix it on the side of the road, man. He goes, bring it in and I'll check it, make sure you did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He saved me a lot of money, man.
Yeah, I had a couple new guys. They had problems, and I said, dude, you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn to work on it, or at least get it. Because one guy said, man, I had to wait all day to have it towed home, and it cost me like $1,500. And I'm like, dude, you're going to have to learn how to
troubleshoot.
Get even if you just get it running or get it someplace safe, you can't leave it. I had that DOT guy pull me over one time. And I had no running lights, and it wasn't dark yet, but he pulled me over and he played around. I was pissed, dude. I'm really surprised I didn't get locked up because I really lost my temper with him, and he held me there long enough, and then it got dark and I didn't have any lights, and I told him. I said, I know I don't have any lights. I'm trying to get home before it gets dark. And, you know, he played around and held me there. And he came out and said, you need to get this thing towed out. And I said, I'm not towing it. I said, you held me here long enough. I said, I'm driving it home. He goes, well, you don't have any lights. And he goes, if I see you on the road, I'm going to impound the truck. I'm giving you a chance to have it towed to your house versus towed to the impound lot. And I said, well, had a few words with him, and I told him, I said, you better get ready and call your tow truck because I'm leaving. And he sat there. He went down, backed in the driveway and sat there. And I sat there for a couple minutes, and I was like, damn it. I said, called the wife and told her. She goes, where the hell are you? And I told her what happened. She goes, you want me to come get you? And I said, no, I'm driving the truck home. She goes, don't call me when you get arrested. And I said, don't worry. So I started up. I really wish, that's the only time I wish I had like that BJ and the Bear air horn thing, you know, because, boy, I was fired up, man. I started the truck up, and I was like, man, I really wish I could make that growling, you know, diesel noise, you know. I started that thing up. Went right by him and waved at him and went on down the road. And he pulled out behind me, and I waited, man. He followed me for a while, and then he pulled off and never stopped me.
Yeah.
I drove that son of a bitch home with no lights. I was so mad because, like I said, when I left, I knew I didn't have any lights because I went to turn them on, and I didn't have anything. But it was still daylight when I was, you know, I could have gotten home before it got dark. So... And then one time I was coming down the road and had a blowout. I was 3 miles from the house, had a blowout, and I'm driving down the road, and a state police, I'm driving on the flat. I'm leaning over in the truck like this, going boom, 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 and I'm doing like 5 miles an hour, not even that, you know. Boom, 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 boom. And the state guy comes up, and he pulls up, and he slows down. And I don't even look at him, no eye contact. I'm like, boop, 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 boop. And he's like, bloop, 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 bloop. And he throws on the lights, and I'm like, yeah, okay. So I pulled over. He goes, hey, dude, you know you got a flat tire? And I said, yeah. No, I got a flat tire. He's like, what are you doing driving? I said, man, I got to get the truck home. He's like, you're not driving that thing home. And I said, I'm only 2 miles down the way now. I said, I'm halfway there. He's like, you ain't driving, dude. He goes, you better call a tow truck. And I said, come on, man. I'm not hurting anything. He goes, there's no way. He sat there and waited. I was like, you can go on now. I'll wait for the tow truck. I called up my buddy. And he's like, no, I'm sitting. He sat there. And the guy that was towing for me, he probably had about 27 violations from the DOT because he saw the state guy with me. He kept on driving. He didn't even stop. And I'm like, hey. I said, that's my guy. I was like, oh, my God. I said, dude, you're scaring off my friends, man. Go up, just leave. So so he went down, turned around, came back. And the state guy's sitting there, and he walks up and goes, dude, you know, what's going on? And I said, dude, I need to tow home. And he's like, okay. And I guess he was probably in violation with a few things that, you know. But the state guy pulled off. He left. And it was funny. My buddy, you know, he pulls up, throws the boom out, lifts up the truck. He said he had his wife with him, and he's like, get in, I'll take you, you know, because he knew where I lived. I was literally, like I said, 2.5 miles from the house. And his wife goes, what are you, crazy? She said, man, throw those chains on that truck. That state guy's probably waiting for you down there, you know, don't, because he just like, he didn't even put anything on the truck. He just threw the boom up underneath of it and picked it up, you know?
Yeah.
So he got back out and threw the chains on it, but it was funny. That cop looked at me like, what the hell are you doing driving with a flat tire? I said, yeah, I know.
Hey, you gotta try to make it home, man. That's
Yeah.
you
That
gotta try
was
to make
it.
it home.
And then you know what the funny part is? I'll probably have one tomorrow after all this talk. But I had one guy, he had some extra rims. So I picked up a rim and a tire and have one ready to go when I need it. And I've never had another I've always been able to, never had to deal with it, whatever. But it was kind of funny that driving that. I drove all the way out to this tire place to get the tire, and I had this huge ass knot on the side of the tire. And I get all the way up there, and the place went out of business.
Oh.
And I was like, dude, I got to get back home. I don't know if this thing's going to make it. And I was coming back from Laurel. And, man, that tire, boom, it blew out. And I was like, oh, my God. I'll just keep driving. Bump, 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 bump.
I hear you, man.
It sucks, though.
Way back, I used to drive a E350 box truck, and I worked for a company. We'd pick up documents from the doctor's offices, and we'd archive them. And I was on the kind of on the outskirts of town, not quite, but I was out by the airplane graveyard, and there was a Ferrari 360. And he was next to me, and this guy's driving like an old lady. Well, on that spot next to the airplane graveyard, it's just a long stretch of road, and then you've got a stoplight where you can basically where you can get onto the airplane graveyard. We got the red light at that light, and I was talking to a buddy on the phone, and I'm telling him about this Ferrari, and I'm like, he's driving like an old lady. I can't believe it. I'm like, I'm gonna race him. He's like, dude, you're in a box truck. It's got labels all over it. What the hell are you thinking? And I'm like, I want to get him to go. I'm like, I ain't going to beat him. I know that, but I want to goad him on. And so the light, I'm watching the light. It's getting ready to change, and I've got it in neutral, revving the engine. And then as the light turns green, I drop it into drive, and I jam on the gas, and I've still got my foot on the brake. And it kind of lifts up and leans, and I get off of it, and whoa, and then that Ferrari, bump, 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 and I'm like, yes, he finally got on it. And my buddy's on the phone with me. He's going, dude, you're an idiot. You're nuts. What's wrong with you?
You're lucky you didn't throw the drive shaft out.
Yeah, exactly. And disclaimer, that was many, 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 many years ago.
Yeah. Past the point of being charged for anything, right?
Yeah. It should be. And if it's not, I don't remember what date it happened.
All right. All right, fellas, I gotta jump in the rack.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me.
Oh, no problem, Lewis.
Oh, yeah,
appreciate
definitely.
you guys. Take it easy.
Yeah, everybody have a safe week. Try to stay out of trouble.
You got
You
that
too.
right.
I don't know if I can leave you guys on because